Welcome to Ink 2 Video. We make books into visual stories.
Meet Varda. He is deeply, consistently exhausted, and it's not from a lack of sleep. He is completely worn out by the daily pressure to be perfectly productive, highly successful, and endlessly social. Every time he opens his phone, he is bombarded with curated, flawless lives. He looks at his own apartment, his own job, and his own bank account, and the comparison leaves him feeling like a failure. Deep down, Varda holds on to a destructive anxiety. He believes that if he is succeeding at life, he should never feel bad. To him, any setback, any moment of sadness, or any failure is proof that he is doing life wrong. This chart illustrates a psychological trap called hedonic adaptation. You buy a nicer car, get a promotion, or hit a new milestone, and you get a temporary spike in happiness. But very quickly, that thrill decays back to your baseline level. You end up running on a treadmill, sweating and striving just to stay in the exact same emotional place. Varda's obsession with avoiding negative feelings and chasing that next positive high is the precise mechanism draining his energy. By demanding that every day be great, he is guaranteeing his own exhaustion. This creates a biological trap. You feel anxious about a meeting. Then you realize you're anxious, and you get angry at yourself for being anxious. Now you're angry about being anxious about a meeting. The emotions compound, creating a paralyzing spiral. The desire for a more positive experience is in and of itself a negative experience. You are constantly reminding your brain of exactly what you currently lack. Conversely, the acceptance of a negative experience is a positive experience. When you finally accept that a project is going to be frustrating and difficult, the anxiety around it begins to evaporate. We operate with a systemic bug in our mental hardware. We assume that emotional pain is unnatural. By treating everyday struggles as glitches that need to be removed, we fail at the basic reality of modern life. To see how this plays out, we find Varda in a brightly lit conference room. He's just handed in a major project he spent weeks perfecting, and his manager tears it apart with harsh, uncompromising feedback. Before shifting his mindset, Varda's default reaction was immediate defensiveness. He would take the criticism as a personal attack, let the anger simmer, and spend his entire weekend spiraling in intense self-doubt. But then Varda encounters the work of author Manson, whose philosophy centers on the concept of radical responsibility. This diagram shows the critical distinction between fault and responsibility. Your manager might be entirely at fault for delivering criticism unprofessionally, but your reaction is your responsibility. Managing the emotional fallout and deciding what to do next is the only space where you have control. Instead of drowning in the unfairness of the delivery, Varda asks himself, does this feedback help me solve the problem with the project? He stops fighting the emotional sting and uses the data to improve his work. Varda realizes that his core metric for success, trying to be liked by everyone, was a rigged game. It handed the control of his self-worth over to the unpredictable moods of other people. He swaps that metric out for a new one, doing honest, high-quality work. This is a value he controls. If the work is good by his own internal standards, he succeeds, regardless of the office politics. He also drops the exhausting demand to be extraordinary. Accepting that he is largely average in most areas of life instantly releases the crushing daily pressure to prove his greatness to the world. Every ambitious goal comes with its own unique brand of misery. The question isn't what kind of success you want. The question is, what is your favorite flavor of pain? What specific frustrations are you actually willing to endure to reach your goal? Negative emotions are not signs of failure. They are biological signals. Pain is just your body's way of prompting you to change your behavior or adapt to your environment. Lasting satisfaction doesn't arrive when you finally run out of problems. It arrives when you are actively engaged in solving problems that you actually care about. Armed with this logic, Varda sits down at a quiet cafe. He takes out a pen and writes down every single thing he is currently worrying about, performing a hard audit of his mental energy. Step 1. The 5-year rule. He looks at his list and crosses off any anxiety or status metric that will not matter 5 years from today. Step 2. Radical responsibility. For the actual problems that remain, he stops assigning blame to the economy or his boss and asks, what action can I take on this right now?
Step 3. Embracing the sacrifice. When a project becomes tedious or frustrating, he reminds himself that this is the specific pain he signed up for. He chose the goal, so he accepts the friction that comes with it.
Step 4. The power of no. He stops RSVPing to social events he dreads just to maintain a polite image. He reclaims his weekend by ending the habit of pleasing others at the expense of his own rest. By systematically restricting what he allows himself to care about, Varda's chronic exhaustion lifts. The tight grip of anxiety in his chest finally loosens. Psychological research indicates that living by internal values, rather than seeking external approval, is the strongest predictor of long-term mental well-being. Varda is no longer paralyzed by the fear of failure. He knows that if he messes up, he will feel bad for a little while, and then he will survive it. The emotional consequences simply aren't that scary anymore. That is the core of Manson's approach. You don't build a fulfilling life by hoping for a life free of obstacles. You build it by carefully picking the right problems to have. Look at your own life right now. What is one useless anxiety you are holding on to that does absolutely nothing to help you grow? And what would actually happen if you just stopped caring about it?
Don't just watch the story. Be part of it. Ink it. Imagine it. Live it with Ink2 Video. Like if it hit you. Subscribe to stay in the story loop. Share it with someone who loves visuals.